Tonight, fears a vocational college in Broken Hill will be forced to close its doors in the wake of an audit. And the iconic Silverton Hotel up for the Best Country Pub Award.
This is Southern Cross News with Fraser Goldsworthy.
Good evening. There are concerns another one of Broken Hill's vocational schools will be forced to close its doors in the wake of a recent standards audit. The concerns come after another college was closed in Broken Hill just a few months ago.
For 4 years, the Eagle Arts and Vocational College has helped dozens of at-risk teenagers by getting them into the classroom.
There's always a percentage of kids, 10%, 20% sometimes, they just can't make it. They need English and maths and history without exams, without a lot of pressure, without assignments, and they need to learn things like learn to drive, first aid, white card. They get all that here and for free.
But in 2 weeks it could be home time for the last time. The principal says the New South Wales Education Standards Authority conducted a review of the college in July and gave it a passing mark.
They decided 3 weeks later that they weren't going to pass us. And this is after it was in writing that we passed.
Nessa reported a number of problems with paperwork, pointing the finger at the college, which led to an investigation being launched.
They were here last Tuesday and they did investigate. And the answer was all bad. While she was here, the main inspector cast her eyes down and said, of course, we do recommend closing some campuses.
Nessa's warning comes just months after Broken Hill's Alesco Learning Centre was forced to close their doors following a similar audit from the state authority. Miss McIntosh is now worried about her students' future if the college shuts down.
They go back on the streets. They won't be going back into education because they came here because they couldn't cope very well with mainstream education.
Nessa did not wish to provide a comment. The Eagle Arts College will receive official recommendations from Nessa in a fortnight. Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
New data has revealed grain harvests on the Eyre Peninsula won't be hit by dry conditions as first thought. Primary Industries has revised the figures after late rainfall saved many farmers from a disaster season.
When the rain failed to come this winter, farmers across the EP became cautious. Some began to dry seed to save their season. When the skies eventually opened, relief was felt across the region.
Growers are still remaining quite optimistic. From where the season was at the start of the year, early April, May and June, to where it is now, it has turned around a little bit.
Thanks to the late rain, SA grain estimates have been revised to nearly 7 million tonnes. Not the heights of last season's record-breaking yield, but enough for growers to begin their harvest.
A number of areas take deliveries already. Slowly but surely it's starting to come in and we expect it to ramp up in the next few weeks.
Viterra has worked closely with farmers during this tricky season. It's invested $1 million in the technology to ensure growers receive the maximum return for their yield.
It allows us to grab a more representative sample of the load, which then in turn allows our classifiers to review the quality of the grain and give the grower the best quality result.
The fully automated probe is the first in the state. It extracts grain to be tested in high volume, allowing for greater efficiency.
On our busiest day, we'll do somewhere between 300 350 trucks per day. So Tumby Bay is one of our largest sites on the Eyre Peninsula. So it's a significant part of our network on here on EP.
The new classification and automated weight bridge is being trialled in Tumby Bay with plans to roll the same model out across the state.
What do our sites look like in the next 5, 10 years and beyond? And this is certainly a step in that direction in setting up our sites to deliver the service levels that we're looking for growers.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
SA Best leader Nick Xenophon says his proposal for fewer state MPs in Parliament will help, not hinder, the regions. He's dismissed criticism from the major parties, saying Labor and the Liberals are scared their duopoly is now under threat.
Nick Xenophon has his eyes set on putting MPs across the state out of a job, in more ways than one. He's confirmed if elected, he'll introduce a policy to reduce South Australia's 47 electorates to 34, averaging around 30,000 voters per seat.
Bring us on par with electorates in Queensland, which have an average of 35,000 voters, In New South Wales, they're 55,000, Victoria 44,000.
Member for Stuart Dan Van Hulst Pelican and member for Giles Eddie Hughes yesterday criticised the proposal. They feared their large electorates would get larger, further marginalising regional South Australia. But Mr Xenophon said the savings would be pumped back into the regions.
Appropriate staffing resources, appropriate travel resources to make sure that those larger geographic electorates are adequately serviced.
Eddie Hughes also criticised the SA Best leader for announcing the policy while contesting a small Adelaide seat. Mr Xenophon has dismissed the talk, saying the major parties are worried about losing their hold on power.
They're a cosy little club, the two of them, and they don't want their duopoly upset. But South Australians are fed up with a broken political system that has not delivered results.
And the voters seem to be warming towards him. A Galaxy poll in today's Advertiser sees Mr Xenophon as the voters' preferred premier, well ahead of Jay Weatherill and Stephen Marshall. He also leads the primary vote, which could put him in a powerful position. John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
With the fire danger season fast approaching, the CFS is urging those in the mid-north, Flinders and the outback to prepare now. It's encouraging residents to make a bushfire plan before it's too late.
With a coverage area of over 66% of the state, those from the CFS's Region 4 are taking no chances when it comes to the fire danger season.
Because our area is so large, our fire season starts much earlier and it goes for much longer. So we're already preparing for the fire season in August and September for our outback areas.
The station's satellite images still show the damage from a large bushfire around Ernabella in the state's north only a month ago. With the fire danger season for the northeast and northwest pastoral districts as well as the AP Wirelands beginning on Sunday, it's urging Region 4's remaining areas to think ahead.
Now, with both Flinders and the mid-north coming in on the 1st of November, the mid-north is 2 weeks earlier than originally planned. And with harvest about to start, we're just wanting everyone to be prepared for the fire season.
Farmers are encouraged to check their equipment and stick to the harvesting code of practice. And residents in country areas should start to clear around their homes.
Get the wood away from the side of the house and put it somewhere away. Slash the areas if the day is safe.
For those who need to make a 000 call to report a fire, the CFS advises be as accurate as you can.
So if you do report a fire through 000, please take note of exactly where you are, your location, and try and give the 000 caller as much information as you can.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Stay with us. Still to come on Southern Cross News, the latest on Port Lincoln's cruise season. Details next. The Whyalla Brass Band is putting the finishing touches ahead of its 105th birthday concert on Saturday. The group held a final practice session last night ahead of the upcoming big show at the Middleback Arts Centre. In a major coup, it'll be joined by the Royal Australian Navy Band, who haven't performed in the Sil City since 1988. Marion's City Brass Band and the Kadina and Moota Brass Band will also perform on the night. Band leader Reg Warnes says the group is excited to put all their practice into work.
We're looking forward to giving back to the community. They've been good to us over the last 5 or 6 years, so it's time we gave something back to them with our birthday celebration.
Tickets are still available through the Middleback. A state Liberal government says it'd guarantee 30% of mining royalties would be spent on upgrading country roads if it was to win the next state election in March. The opposition leader says road infrastructure has suffered under Labor and the regions deserve better.
Country roads are vital pieces of infrastructure, but the state opposition says they've been neglected for far too long. Whyalla and Port Augusta are still waiting for overtaking lanes, while speed limits have been reduced on dangerous roads. So the opposition has launched a bold plan, committing $75 million a year over the next decade to improving them, using the state's mining royalties.
We will quarantine 30% of our mining royalty revenue to go towards regional roads and infrastructure here in South Australia.
Royalties for Regions is based on an idea championed in Western Australia by the Nationals back in 2008. Upper House MP Rob Brokenshire first proposed it in SA 4 years ago, but both major parties refused to support it. But in a road to Damascus moment, Mr Marshall says the Liberals are now backing the concept.
We have plenty of independent analysis now which shows that there's a backlog of country road maintenance of around $500 million. And this is why we've taken this decision.
State Labor criticised the policy in Parliament yesterday, saying it's $10 million less than what they've budgeted for next year. But Mr Marshall says it's a growth on what's already being spent. He's also slammed Labor, saying their lack of funding and decision to cut speed limits on country roads in our region means they can't be trusted.
They've starved the regions of the vital roads and infrastructure spending that the people in the country deserve. So they've got no credibility whatsoever.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Hardworking carers in the region have received a big thank you today. Carers from Whyalla, Port Pirie and Port Augusta were treated to a mystery tour as part of National Carers Week.
Often going unnoticed, they're the important members of society who help care for their loved ones every day. Today, a busload of carers from across our region were taken on a day out to say thanks.
The work the carers do, they do a hell of a lot for the carees, and it's hard work for them a lot of times, and we just show a little bit of appreciation by doing what we can for them.
The trip started in Whyalla and came to Port Augusta this morning before heading on to Port Pirie.
We want to get away for a short time and forget all the troubles that are involved with caring for someone who doesn't quite understand as we do.
Caring for a loved one, younger, older or with special needs, is a relentless task, and 2.7 million Australians do it every day.
We have to do it. We don't have the choices, really.
Most people can get up in the morning and do what they want to do and not think about anyone else in the house, unless the children, of course, that need care.
The outing is a part of National Carers Week, and those going along for the mystery ride say it's just what they need.
You actually feel like royalty. I do. Yeah, no, they're wonderful, and it's I suppose, thank you.
I really love it because carers look after us. They really do, and I appreciate it, and this is a treat.
And if you know an unpaid carer, here's the best thing you can do.
Just by talking sometimes and being there to be a listener. I think sometimes that's what a lot of people need, is just to be listened to.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Well, Port Lincoln's unique welcome program for cruise ship passengers has been nominated as a finalist in the state's Tourism Awards. 9 ships are expected to arrive in the upcoming season, bringing with them a record number of passengers visiting the region.
Cruise ships have become a familiar sight in Port Lincoln, the coastal getaway proving a hit for passengers looking to make a short voyage across the Gulf. More people are now choosing the region for a holiday, with record numbers arriving this season.
Over a season, it's sort of millions of dollars, and we had, I think, 5 cruise ships last year. We've got 9 this season. And we've got a couple of big ships coming this season, and then next season we've got 14.
But it's once they arrive, their journey truly begins. Guests are greeted by volunteers, bands and even the mayor. The welcome certainly isn't going unnoticed, with the SA Tourism Commission nominating the welcome mat for an award.
I think quite unique that we've actually got this shuttle service and that it's a free shuttle service.
But it's not just the guests who are feeling the benefit. Local businesses are also getting a kick from the program.
We actually noticed that they buy a lot of local products and really want to see what's going on in different activities, so it's great to have the tourists in town actually.
Locals hoping the experience shines a spotlight on the Eyre Peninsula.
We really hope to see them go home and talk about us and talk about the town and get other people here as well.
And there's more than just one reason why cruise ships are docking in the harbour.
It's a fantastic view for the passengers, sitting over there and just being able to look at the city. It does look lovely.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
In the news ahead, the iconic local pub up for a big award. Details next. Well, the Silverton Hotel has been named as a finalist at the New South Wales Australian Hotel Awards. The popular hotspot has been nominated for its renowned country pub status, and it comes as the iconic backdrop to many films continues to dazzle on screen.
Its history and popularity has led to many awards for the iconic Silverton Hotel. Now it's up for another.
This year they decided to recognise some of the little bush pubs that are situated around New South Wales.
This year, the Australian Hotel Association of New South Wales has introduced a new category, recognising the best pubs out bush.
This was to get it out into the bush and let the bush pubs that trade with often difficulties in either their food chains or getting staff and all that sort of stuff. So it was recognising us guys that do it probably a little bit harder than our city folks.
It's been another good year on the big screen for the Silverton Hotel. TV show 800 Words starring Eric Thompson filmed parts of its third season around the town, including some scenes at the pub.
People have been coming in already and saying they've seen it on telly. These are tourists from away already, so it's gone to so many people.
And the hotel continues to draw visitors all year round, whether it's staying for a night or for an afternoon frothy. As for Peter and Patsy, they can't wait to head to Sydney for the awards night next month.
We feel we've got a great business here and we like to get it out, and it's just one way of doing it and recognising by our peers that we're somewhere sitting in there with it all, so we're pretty chuffed with it all.
In Silverton, Patrick Roenke, Southern Cross News.
Time to see what's biting around the Gulf now. Here's Fish and Tips.
Welcome another week around the Gulf Fishing Tips from Port Pirie. Really funny times at this crossover season. So what we're going to start looking for now is blue swimmer crabs. We talked about them last time in the big deep channel. So anywhere at Checker Buoy, just on the crossover just before Ward Spit, you'll find beautiful blue swimmer crabs nice and full at this stage. Don't forget there's still a lot of salmon trout floating around the place, so burley up top. Second Creek is the best tip for that at this particular time, and the snapper are around, so my tip is Port Germain Bay. Give it a go there. I think you'll do all right.
G'day and welcome to this week's Fishing Tips from Port Augusta, Jewel of the North. Well, the weather's all over the shop at the moment. Got that really hot day yesterday and then it's back to cold and wintry today. So that still means you're still getting the winter species, big King George whiting, particularly along the front of the shacks. Some crabs out a little bit deeper, take a little bit longer to get in the nets there. But the big news here at the moment, those huge big kingfish, 4 or 5 footers up here at the moment. They're getting spot more towards the top of the Gulf, but also around near the old powerhouse side as well, down into Port Patterson.
There's been some good numbers of King George whiting again coming out the front of town. Best areas have been just out front of Cudmore Terrace or South Football Club in the broken patches there. If you move around a little bit, I'm sure you can get onto some nice fish. There's still some really good whiting down towards Mount Young, so you really need to get amongst them before the annoying little shitty fish move in. For the snapper, there's been very quiet the last week. We've had some dodge tides, but some fresh tides and good weather coming through on the weekend. Best place to target again would probably be the Rip or out towards the Ward Spit. For the land-based anglers, there's been some really good salmon still coming from the Point Lowly area. There's also been a few really big, large yellowtail kingfish sighted out there, so definitely worth having a crack for those. And the Whaler foreshore is producing a few silver whiting.
Stay with us after the break. Nicole will have all the local weather details.
We had the umbrellas out today in Whyalla and a few other places as well. I'll have the region's forecast next. Welcome back. Having a look at the weather now. We saw a bit of a mix of conditions today across the region. A bit of a wet day in Port Augusta and Whyalla, reaching a top of 23. Showers in Port Pirie as well, with the mercury peaking at 25. Warmer in Broken Hill with thunderstorms forecast, and a change up in Port Lincoln and Adelaide with mostly clear skies. To the satellite, a band of cloud is impacting the south with a low pressure trough causing showers and thunderstorms. On the Gulf waters, winds will be southerly up to 25 knots, seas at around 1 to 2 metres with a south-southwesterly swell, sunrise pushing past 6:30 and the sun will come up at sunset at 7:35. Looking like it'll be a bit of a better day tomorrow. Plenty of blue skies in Port Augusta for 25. A cooler change on the way for Port Lincoln and Cleve, dipping below 20 degrees. Mostly sunny for Coffin Bay and Port Pirie as well. A bit of cloud cover on the way for Whyalla and Broken Hill, dropping off to 23. And a fine day in Adelaide for 20. Looking ahead, we won't be seeing much sunshine in Port Lincoln over the next few days. A cloudy start to the weekend, which is continuing right through till Monday. A different story for Cleve, though, with clear skies on the way. And we're seeing the temperature rise slightly after the weekend for Woodner, hitting 28. In Whyalla, a perfect start to the weekend with sunny skies for 22. We'll be out on the water in Port Augusta Saturday, reaching 25 with clear weather expected. And in Kadina, it'll be slightly cooler but still just as lovely over the weekend with plenty of sunshine on offer. And much the same weather-wise for Port Pirie, except for a bit of cloudy weather on Sunday. Clouds will be clearing in time for the weekend in Clare and a bit cooler over the next few days in Broken Hill with the temperature maxing at 23 most days. So Fraser, it's looking like the Drew weather will be clearing in time for the weekend.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Nicole. And that's all the news to now. Thanks for your company. A reminder, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. You can also drop us an email. I'll have updates a little later on tonight. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.